Yeah, I thought it was a heck of a college basketball game. We got to come out the gates better. I thought that first half we didn't honor the game. We didn't play with the toughness we needed to go win a Division I game, and that put us in a hole. And they made some big plays down the stretch.
What defensively, I think in particular, obviously Washington was an issue, but I mean he goes for 40. What did you feel like you guys didn't do well enough? What maybe is the correction when you're having a guy like that just doesn't seem to miss?
You can't let a great player. This is 2 games in a row. We let a really good player get rhythm because of stupid, just plays that we didn't execute defensively. Like we had a game plan going in, we did not execute it at all to start the game. He got rhythm, and then we started throwing a few things out there, some different coverages that. We just weren't. We were kind of playing catch up. Like we were a step behind. I thought the second half we did a couple things that were better at times, but no, he got going. He's a good player, and we didn't execute the game plan to start.
And then offensively, obviously you guys go 16 for 16 the second half from the line, but just 2 of 6 in overtime. I mean, how do you kind of get that point across that every last free throw counts? Because it ultimately, the two missed free throws here or there changed the outcome of the game.
It absolutely did. We had a chance to ice the game, and I struggle as a coach to put, like, our players, the fans, everyone in the gym puts a ton of emphasis on the overtime minutes, those last few minutes, and they're important. Don't get me wrong, we're going to learn from it. We really messed up some late game execution there, offensively and defensively. But I try to look at it more holistically. Like the first half killed us. They killed us in the paint. They shot 60-something% from 2. We shot in the 40s. Just the overall tougher game from those guys.
It seemed like you guys didn't really send 2 at the ball on Washington until later in the game. What was kind of behind that, or what made you comfortable kind of giving them single coverage for most of the game? I
mean, we had some times where we were supposed to, and we were a little bit late. And he's such a quick player. If you go slow, if you tiptoe into those double teams or different ways that we were trying to put 2 on the ball, he's too fast for it to look like you're even doing it. And we were slow in our rotations. We weren't tight. I did a really bad job of preparing our team in that regard.
I guess what was stopping you guys from kind of executing some of those defensive game plans that you guys didn't really get to?
He kept us off balance. He was rejecting some screens, and we weren't disciplined in keeping him into the ball screen. Our bigs were a little bit late. It was really, honestly, like a different guy, a different situation being one step slow, whether it was on the ball, being a step slow and letting reject screens, whether it was a big, being a step slow and not getting up to the level, or it could have been the rotation guy. Like the beginning of the second half, we put 2 on the ball, they throw it for a dunk for the big guy because we don't have our rotations right. And it just seemed like every step of the way there was something that we were just dragging our feet on.
Coach, Ethan had a really gritty performance today. Anything you have to say about him? Obviously scoring 27 and just going through multiple cramps and coming back out there in overtime.
He's a tough kid. He's a mature player. He does he wants to win. He does everything he can to win. And it's unfortunate we missed him the last few minutes. Obviously his steadiness would have helped us down the stretch and overtime. We've been asking a lot of him. He's been playing a lot of minutes. He's been playing really physical and probably caught up to him today. And we just got to make sure we're getting him ready for the rest of the season.
Were you impressed with the team's ability to come back and even take a lead? Obviously, kind of a rough ending, but were you still impressed that they were able to bounce back from a rough first half and kind of take over there at the end?
Yeah, I think we have fight. I think our guys have resiliency. I think that's something that I've never questioned with our guys. Just kind of let our foot off the gas down the last minute.
Coach, obviously some clear frustration from you, especially in the first half. I kind of heard you say that looked like your team is playing like in a selfish way maybe. Do you have any way that you can kind of elaborate on that?
I think we weren't zipping the ball around. I think that was our biggest issue. Like Pacific does a great job of swarming the paint, making you pass. Like I think their defensive assist rate is the highest in the conference. So teams get more assists against Pacific than anyone else in the conference. That clearly shows that they're going to overhelp. It was in the game plan, and we were making home run plays. We were trying to throw it in on the first side over the post. We were shooting balls, and we could have made extra passes. We were getting offensive rebounds and just throwing it up and not spraying it out. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 plays those first 12 minutes where it just seemed like we were. And selfish is a triggering word for some people, and selfish might not be the right word. It could have been just cutting corners. Like, we're trying to skip that step. We're trying to just throw it into the first side rather than getting a reversal. We're trying to just sneak it in and get a layup rather than just spraying it out and playing the right way. And so I think we have an unselfish team that was probably cutting a few corners that first half.
Obviously, the big game on Saturday for you guys. Does this help maybe with like some frustration that you're going into this game, and maybe you've not been knocked down a few pegs, and now you kind of got to prove yourselves again?
I think that the game humbles you, and we weren't mentally tough enough because I thought our egos were getting a little bit big, and maybe that's from winning, maybe that's from me not having good enough practices that put them in reality. There's a lot of different things that could go into that, but when we're pointing fingers and we're blaming others, I think that shows a little bit of mental weakness, and hopefully this game can make us tougher. Like, we got to show a lot of mental toughness to go in on Saturday and win a game at Gonzaga, and hopefully we can learn from that. I think that's something that we've done a really good job of, is learning from each of our losses, and that's got to be something that we take for the rest of the season.
Dave, you guys had those 12 turnovers in the first half. I think Lawan and Nate combined for 9. When you look at what they were trying to do offensively, you mentioned those home run balls that they were picking off. Was that more of kind of your offensive scheme not working, or were they able to like jump those passing routes a little bit more than maybe you saw on film? I
thought their aggression definitely played a part. Hats off to Pacific. They had a really good game plan, and they have a unique style of defense that we hadn't. No one's really seen. I don't think. They run a very unique style of defense, and we tried to replicate that in practice, and it kind of threw our guys off that first half, and we were turning it over. And then I guess looking forward to Saturday, when you look at Gonzaga, obviously they've got a lot of talent on the court. They have a guy like Battle who can get hot like Washington did tonight, I guess. What are you hoping to see different on Saturday, and especially going up against a team like that? Need us to execute. Like, we can't be doing our own thing. We can't be have one guy doing something the other 4 guys aren't doing. If we do that, it's going to be another night where a guy gets hot, and we got to learn this lesson of making sure we're connected team defensively.
How do you prepare for the environment of just a rowdy atmosphere, a rivalry game, and all that?
I think that we'll have a couple things where we talk to the guys. We'll have some hand signals, but overall, I think we prepared by having a tough preseason, playing in loud environments. I go back to the Iowa game, the Boise game, some really good Nevada game. Like, there's some really good environments that we played in, and I think that's prepared us for this test.
What do you want to see on Saturday that can alleviate some of the frustrations that you're feeling right now?
Mental toughness. Like, that's got to be our biggest thing. We can't be making excuses or blaming others. Like, that's kind of what mental weakness looks like, and there was too much of that.
You guys closed with Parker over Nate on the last play. What was kind of behind that decision?
Just getting a little more size. Wanting to put ND at the rim, and it was more just trying to get some bodies on bodies. That made sense.
Coach, thanks you for your time.
Go Cougs.